Oh, it was Power here to review the Ultraman Trigger. Why am I forgetting what series this is? DX G.U.T.S Hyper Key Ultraman Reboot. So, this was interesting as obviously Reboot appeared in Trigger for the sake of promoting uh the destined crossroad of Ultra Galaxy Fight, to which Reboot made his Japanese debut within Ultra Galaxy Fight New Generation Heroes, while he actually debuted all the way back in 2015 as he was a Ultraman from Malaysia. So it's pretty neat if the glare could get toned down. It's pretty neat that he actually got a hyper key, as you can see from here. The phrases got spark ones. They interestingly gave him green, or it's not even. It's like a turquoise and like compatibilityism. So here's the Reboot Hyper Key. Interestingly, again, he's this interesting shade of green, which again I would say is like kind of turquoise. Here's his mosaic illustration, and I forgot to mention this. Glitter Trigger is not numbered, interestingly, so you can tell that Reboot's actually U09, so he's before Tiga. But obviously you're going to be like, well, what the heck? There's a gap between Z Original and Reboot. Yeah, what? That will be in like 2 to 3 days from now. So, here's the track for Reboot. B020. Obviously, he's just a standard hyper key because somehow... What kaiju key did he make this out of? So again, because he is a previous Ultra, he has the same sound scheme, sound layout as Tiga and Zet.
Ultraman Ribut.
I should say Tiga more specifically.
Ground mode. Ultraman Ribut. Galaxy Beta. Hyper key mode.
Let's get the Guts Hyper Gun.
Ultraman Ribut.
Woohoo! Gosh darn it.
Ultraman Ribut.
Woohoo!
Galaxium.
I think just like Zet, he was also used within, like, in this mode. But anyways, transformation. Same standby as Zet and Tiga. So there we get the transformation of Ultraman Ribut. His LED coordination is pretty interesting because you would think it would just be like Tiga, or be like red and white, but it actually goes through the light blue, yellow, and then green, and then goes back to being green, which is pretty interesting. And it's also just, again, interesting that they gave Ribut a new transformation, because I understand that beforehand. I think he was just given like the traditional rise sound, but here they actually composed a new transformation jingle for him, which is pretty cool. And now for his, again, he still has 3 attacks or 3 sounds. So interestingly enough, I think it's just because of the lack of sounds they have a reboot. They actually have him calling out his finishers, which is pretty interesting, instead of just like, his grunts and such. So that's, pretty interesting of them to do. Kind of curious who else will use this because I actually don't really remember this pin set or this selection of these. So I would technically actually stick with the lance or the sky arrow because that's the closest to his spear. But I think I think I just did the power claw. Obviously, you have to wait for this or else it's not going to respond. So, obviously, as you can tell from Ribut's activation, do I keep this? I think so. Obviously, because Ribut doesn't have a form because he's a traditional Ultraman, it just says his name. Overall, I think the Ribut hyper key is pretty neat. I think it's kind of nice that the 3 keys we got that weren't trigger related were very different in their own way. Like they sound formatting wise, they were the same, but just the way they went with it was pretty interesting or pretty unique to make them not feel stale. Obviously, with yeah, typically you would complain about inconsistency, but at this point it's just kind of like, I get it. Like Ribut's a more modern Ultra, so it's just kind of like, you might as well have like memorialize his sound, even though that's not really the case. But other than that, for the last hyper key to be released, last retail hyper key to be released within the line, he's a pretty interesting choice to end on and such. It would have been nice if they did more, but I understand that they, for the most part, wanted to stick with the in-show keys. But yeah, again, this is pretty affordable at most. I think Ribut's also, I think him and Zet are the 2 that are kind of the more pricier ones, just because they're popular, even though like I'm saying that like Zet's here and then like Ribut's here, but like there's just a huge space between them of popularism. But yeah, I don't think it should be difficult picking this one up. So that'll have to do with this review. So this is PowerRider, and I'll leave you people. Bye.